Welcome to the Vicis Interimo 30 Minutes to Kill podcast.
You are listening to the Vicis Interimo show, 30 Minutes to Kill, more or less. A horror entertainment podcast featuring horror, suspense, and psychological thrillers. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Podomatic, and just about anywhere. Type in VICIS INTERIMO. I'm your host, Michael Matt Saxon Jones, here with my lovely wife and co-host, Lori. Hi, Lori.
Hi.
We generally have 4 segments to each show. Laid to Rest, where we recap old shows or any info that we may have missed. A review of a featured movie. Garbage in, garbage out, and we end up with a crawling chaos, a topic or a factoid that we have never talked about on the show before. Sometimes silly, sometimes serious, most always chaotic. So this is, like I said, episode 304, and it's Incarnate in what?
Sure.
Yeah, I don't have a mastery.
Tomato.
I don't really have a mastery of the English language,
I don't know.
I don't even know what to suggest.
I don't know.
All right. Well, it's a 2017 movie? 2016.
2016.
That's what is listed anyhow.
Well, when the person from the Vatican was talking about the guy being the incarnate, they said incarnate.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Well, that part comes later. So, at any rate, let's get into our Laid to Rest.
Portions of this podcast are made possible through the patronage of great people like At Lonely Bob, Big Alby, and Goldafish. Since we are trying to grow our podcast in every way possible, even if you can't be a patron, you can still help us grow by liking, commenting, and subscribing to the podcast. Also, you can show your support by proudly placing our Vicis Interimo sticker where everyone can see it. Send me your address in a private message and I will mail you your very own sticker anywhere in the world free of charge. My email is madsaxon, with 2 X's at yahoo.com. That's MADSAXXON at yahoo.com. Thanks for your support. It means a lot.
So, without going to long, lengthy discussions, illness and gout have prevented me. I guess gout is also an illness. Anyhow, prevented me from getting that Throwback Thursday episode out, which will be coming out. That will be the 13 Ghost episode. So I'm probably only going to do this till the beginning of the new year, maybe. I may do 4 or 5 more shows. We'll see how it goes.
How's the viewership on it? Are people checking it out?
I think people are checking it out, and I think the biggest thing you could appreciate from that is how far we've come in honing and perfecting our craft.
Because it's perfect.
Yeah, it's not perfected,
No.
It's perfecting.
It's always a work in progress.
It's a work in progress.
Ever evolving, for better or for worse, or devolving.
Exactly. Well,
I don't know.
At any rate, anything to cover from late to last? I was just going to say, was there anything to cover from last movie, which was Dos Equis?
Yeah.
I can't believe I missed out on making all the beer jokes last week.
I know.
How did I miss that?
I don't know.
I'm sure Darren would have helped us out with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to add.
Okay. You got another?
I was going to say, we talked a little bit about anthologies, and for an anthology, I thought it was really good, because usually anthologies don't really float my boat.
Right.
But we're doing an anthology 2 episodes from now. I believe it's
That's
2
what's
episodes
planned.
from now.
That's what's planned.
It'll be our Halloween episode.
Yeah.
It's an anthology, so I'm a little nervous, but
okay.
We'll see. It's All Hallows Eve. It might be a total bomb. It might be the bomb. I don't know.
Okay. The other one we have the house that October built. Is that what our next planned one is?
It's actually the house is October built.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well.
Because it's about haunted houses.
All right.
Multiple.
Well, sweet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what do you say? Enough of these shenanigans. Let's talk about Incarnate.
Mom? I have an archdemon possessing the body of an innocent 11-year-old boy. Of course, we sent in the best exorcists, but they failed. Who are you?
I'm gonna help your son. I don't do exorcisms. I don't use religious methods to treat the symptoms. I go inside the victim's mind to treat the disease. I evict the demon from the inside. We're in your head. Wake up, buddy.
Something wrong, Henry?
This entity is strong. Strongest I've ever encountered.
What happens when this entity is done with a kid and decides to jump?
The boy dies. Cameron, this is not real. You're gonna burn.
Oh my God.
God's not here.
Okay, so like you said earlier, this is a 2016. We watched the unrated version, which
that means something?
I thought it was a PG-13, so...
Oh, you might have had some F-bombs in there, but...
Did we?
Maybe, yeah. I think there was a couple.
I don't remember hearing it.
Yeah.
But...
Okay.
Okay, well, anyway, Dr. Seth Ember has the power to exorcise demons by entering the subconscious minds of their victims. But when he accepts a Vatican request to aid a possessed 9-year-old boy, Ember must face the same malevolent spirit responsible for his wife's death.
So... thought of a couple of other movies when I watched this. Thought a little bit about The Matrix. I thought a little bit about Dreamscape. 80s.
Yeah.
It's not technically a horror movie, but that was a fun movie. I think we might want to do it at some point.
Okay.
If nothing else, we need to watch it. Dreamscape was enjoyable. Anyhow, I'll start because I usually ask you, what do you think about this? I'll tell you what I thought about it. I didn't like it as much as I wanted to. I was disappointed. So that's not necessarily the producers of the movie or the directors or anybody else's fault. This is what happens when you set up your own expectations
Whose
for what
fault
you're going to
is
see.
it?
Probably all my fault. Because
No.
everything was... Oh, okay, well, I'll tell you what my problem was. Okay. I was really excited to see a movie that stripped away all of the religious connotations and the religious trappings that go with a possession film.
Right.
Like, to me, that set it aside for what I was going to be in for. You know, the guy says right at the beginning, Ember says right at the beginning, you know, that he doesn't think of him as a demonic thing. It's just a parasite. And he, you know, so all that was going to be stripped away. We get into the movie, and I didn't like it. I missed all that stuff.
Okay.
But it would have been okay with it if they had broached the subject a little bit more. Is any of that making sense? Does that...
Yes.
Okay. Because you get like a little information dump where he just says, well, he says pretty much what I said. I paraphrased it. But he, you know, just says, oh, well, I don't think of them as an actual entity or whatever. They're like a parasite that doesn't have any power. And I go in and I extract it from their brain by going into their dreams.
Right.
It doesn't have any power, only what you give it.
You want to talk about how he does that so people know what to expect?
Well, he just does it chemically, basically. that's what I got out of it. He kind of falls asleep in the room with them, and however he does it, projects himself.
They have him all wired to like the computers and all that, so that his assistants can monitor his heart rate,
see what's
and all
happening,
that.
And they're monitoring.
He's on an IV,
right? But
they keep him
hydrated and so on.
Yeah.
And if they need to give him any drugs for any reason while he's in there, but he's still, for lack of a better word or whatever, he's psionically projecting himself into their dreams.
Right.
You know, and they didn't explain that. Like, I want the explanation.
Right.
If you're going to take away all of
the science behind it.
Right. Which I thought was great, but like, if you're not going to give me the religious aspects of it, because for me those would be shortcuts.
Right.
You know what I mean? I could identify or understand those things better. So this is coming from somebody, this is going to go off topic, but slightly. This is from somebody who, as me, is a huge fan of the writings of Joseph Campbell.
Right.
You know, like I bought all of his book, A Hero with a Thousand Faces, and I bought all of his lectures on comparative religions and so on. So, like, that's fascinating to me. So I'm familiar with a little bit of lots of different fables, folklores, religions, myth, all of that stuff. You know, what is myth? Myth is other people's religion. Anyhow, bad joke. But so I'm fascinated with those things. So, like, I want explanations for it. Well, that's, I was going to say, that comes into the later, garbage in, garbage out later. But anyhow.
Really?
Well, sort of. I guess we talked about American Horror Story last week.
Oh, that
anyhow.
cult. Yeah.
Sorry, getting off topic here. Bringing it back to the movie. So on my end, I was just a little disappointed because I had built up in my mind, like, I'm really excited to see how they approach this and how they're going to explain stuff. And then we don't really get an explanation there. And that was what was a letdown for me.
Right.
I'll also, well, what do you have to say about it?
Well, I could say almost all of those same things.
Right.
Unfortunately. I wrote here that, this was a new kind of possession story, but also mediocre.
Okay.
That was what I wrote.
All right, well.
So it was a great new idea, but something went wrong with the execution.
So, like, I'm going to go back a couple of episodes and say with the movie Clown.
Yeah.
Like, they made a whole mythos to go with this. They took a simple idea.
That was new and anything but mediocre.
But they built a mythos and stuff and wove it in the movie and gave you this thing. So,
well,
they had a new idea here or a new way to approach it.
Yeah.
But, like, for me, they didn't do the background work to weave a good...
Yeah, it came off as like maybe they were... I don't think they were in a hurry to do it, but I do wish they'd have slowed down and, like you said, fleshed out some of the details.
Yeah.
Because I had a lot of questions. This demon itself, like it said in the synopsis that I read, he ends up, he's battling the same malevolent spirit that, killed his wife or that was responsible. I kept waiting. I'm like, why? What does this demon have against him? And
fun.
And I guess,
just a game.
Well, yeah, towards the end he just says, oh, well, they sensed my power and so they came after me.
Well,
like, that was
and
it.
They
I don't know.
They set him apart as and we talked about this before we even started recording, which normally we don't do, but just before we started recording, Incarnate, they refer to this as a noun, right? I mean, wouldn't that be a noun, a person, place, or thing?
Well, they called him the Incarnate.
An Incarnate. Yeah. So, who are they? What are they? Are all exorcists?
Well, yeah,
those who perform exorcists? Are they all incarnates?
Right. Didn't sound like... It seemed like they were a certain kind of person, but they just touched on it and breezed through it so quick, like I'm not even sure I heard them right.
Right.
Because it was like somebody, a woman from the Vatican comes to talk to him, and... Like, that's always interesting. Because I do like the religious aspect.
Sure.
So it was like, okay, these two things are gonna come crashing together.
Right.
The Vatican and the religious aspects, along with no, I am strictly a scientist and this is what I do.
Right.
But they seemed like they had a previous relationship. He was familiar with them. They were familiar with him.
Right. They knew his, and here's the thing, they knew his teacher.
Right.
So, like, he already had this ability. Somebody else helped him amplify it. Like, what was?
He finally says that he had this ability.